Aesthetics and wellness, we believe confidence isn't just how you look, it's how you feel. From subtle, natural aesthetics to personalized wellness care, everything we do is intentional. This is beauty with purpose. At Vibe Men's Health, we take that same approach. We focus on what matters most: strength, energy, and performance. Built on real data, real medicine, and real results, we're here to help you look better, feel stronger, and live fully. Come vibe with us today.
Mississippi's trusted weather experts. This is Mississippi Live Weather at 9.
Good Thursday evening, everybody. I'm meteorologist Gabe Maynor here for Mississippi Live at 9. And what we're tracking, well, it's a story that we've been experiencing for several days now. That carrying over into our Friday with those current alerts showcasing the extreme heat warnings up there towards Coahoma, Quitman, Tallahatchie, and Tunica County. Elsewhere, well, heat advisories remain in effect. And what does that mean? It means those feels-like values, not just those actual temperatures, going to be up to 105 and all the way up to 110 in some spots. So heat does remain the story. It's continuing to be our theme to wrap up the work week. And even hotter temps on the horizon. I mean, it's just going to be miserable, uncharacteristic for Mississippi, seeing those temperatures climb to near record temperatures as we get into our weekend. And we're talking in Mississippi Live News, Parkview neighborhood expanding. Our Emily Leonard breaking that down in much more detail coming up in a few moments. Let's talk about the first 12. Dry overnight. Well, yes, models were trying to put out maybe a shower here, shower there. I mean, we are not getting a shower anywhere overnight and into the start of our Friday. That's a good thing to wrap up the week on a high note. We love those sunny skies. Unfortunately, those sunny skies ramping up those temperatures from the upper 70s to already 90 degrees by 10 a.m. So yes, it will look beautiful. It's just going to feel, honestly, pretty similar to what we had today. 100 in Tunica, 99 Clarksdale, 98 Cleveland and Greenville. We're even seeing 97 as far east as Amory, Houston, and Bruce, 98 Vernon and Aliceville. So you get the point. Everywhere experiencing that heat, and that's how it'll be for our Friday as well. But if we're talking how it looks, well, it looks fantastic, but the 84 degrees at 9 o'clock there in Clarksdale tells you that we're just in an uncharacteristic pattern, and that continues into our Thursday night. Now, we do still have the meteor shower ongoing, not at its peak coverage anymore, but if you want to get out there and maybe see a meteor or two, well, you still have an opportunity. That wrapping up later on into August. So now is your time. 84 degrees there in Kosciuszko. Always love showcasing the church down there in Atala County, and 84 degrees in Columbus. Roadways continue to be busy along 45 and even across parts of 82, but that will start to calm up overnight, and I'm sure even at 9 o'clock, those drivers have the air going in the car. I know I did, at least as I was getting dinner this evening. We are 89 degrees in Holly Springs, while up towards Iuka and Corinth sitting at 82, so it doesn't look too bad. Starkville at 82 as well. We're still 90 in Clarksdale, we're still 90 in Senatobia, and we are still 92 in South Haven. So folks, it is just going to continue to ramp up. In fact, from this time 24 hours ago, look at the change. 2, 3, 4 degrees difference, and yes, that is in the warmer direction from this time last night. So it shows that while the temperatures have been hot all week, it just continues to get hotter into our Friday and will really ramp up into the weekend once again. We'll look at those weekend high temperatures, but needless to say, if you don't have plans to find ways to stay cool, you need to put that in your planner. Mama Justice Doppler radar, we're staying on the calmer side tonight. We'll look a little later on about some active weather elsewhere, but we are grateful that our area has remained calm. While we would love some rainfall, we don't want the severe weather that's been a part of those storms up there towards our north. High pressure, again, telling the story. The further west this goes, the higher our temperatures do get, but the lower the moisture gets as well. So yes, temperatures are going to be climbing, but it's not going to be that stickiness factor that we have with our Mississippi mugginess. This is going to be more of a dry heat, but that still means temperatures up in the triple digits. And that still means feels like values anywhere from 105 to 110. So, take it with a grain of salt. Looking up towards our north, you see the active pattern that they're getting up there towards Nebraska and even towards Kansas, where severe thunderstorm warnings are still happening. I mean, look over here in Kentucky, right along that same boundary, we're getting severe storms as well. So the severe weather stays towards our north, but it's just calm here in Mississippi, meaning that we're not looking at any chance of rainfall for our region as we get into our Thursday night and even into the start of our Friday. Futurecast is going to show that as well. And if it doesn't, well, it should. One thing that it's doing right now is trying to gauge the rain chances, and it's trying to give us some hope. all things considered, but don't get that hope too strong because those rain chances not going to verify, at least not all the way to the ground. The moisture really remaining elevated. In fact, really that moisture is pushed out towards the east into Alabama. So again, the brick wall of the Mississippi state line will hold firm once again into our Friday, keeping the moisture more towards Alabama. More Alabama story here in North Mississippi. You can see how those drier conditions begin to settle in and those skies will remain clear. So even the moisture in the form of cloud cover, not exactly going to be our story for our Friday, but that's how it's been all week long, and that's how it'll be to wrap up the week as well. So at least it's consistent, but it's consistently hot. Hey, it's sunny. I guess we'll have some positives mixed in there as well. Either way, we're going to be looking at that entire temperature forecast, and this is going to be one you want to pay attention to because it will be impacting any of those afternoon activities. I know football is a week from tomorrow, at least Jamboree week is. And we are just as excited as you to get back out there. Excited to debut some new sports content as we approach the coming weeks, but you know, practices are ongoing, and I know coaches want to get their teams ready. Just please be cautious. 77 by 6, 85 by 9, or 95 by noon, 98 towards the afternoon, and this is not even going to be the hot temperature over the next several days. More heat building in through the weekend. We'll be looking at that in much more detail coming up in the next 60 seconds, as well as taking a look at some of the active weather ongoing across the United States. Yes, in a very far location from here in Mississippi. We'll track that out with some of our Mississippi Live Weather Watcher submissions here in just a moment. But coming up in the next 60 seconds, our Emily Leonard gives us everything we need to know in our Mississippi Live news. So keep it here for the very latest, and we'll see you right back here in 60 seconds.
I have been going to Tupelo Smiles my whole life. When I was a kid, I was unhappy about some uneven coloring on my teeth after getting my braces off, which at the time there really wasn't a fix. I was recently made aware of a solution that would totally fix it, which is exactly what we did. They not only heard my concerns, but they never stopped looking to solve my problem, and that's why I love Tupelo Smiles.
Dust off your favorite shotgun and sign up for the Natchez Trace Council Clay Classic. Call 662-842-2871 or visit natcheztracecouncil.org.
Hey there, everyone. Thank you for joining us here on Mississippi Live. Good evening to you. I'm Emily Leonard. Burns Bottoms Parkview neighborhood in Columbus could grow by 9 more lots. Friendly City Development wants to purchase the old Chevron and Fant lots on 5th Street North, building 9 new homes on the east side. Here's how that deal would work. The Community Redevelopment Authority, the CRA, would cover site prep costs and the design, but only if the developers exercise their option to buy. In exchange, the purchase price would go up to $1.15 million. The 9 new homes are expected to add close to $2.8 million in value to the city's tax rolls. Developer Nick Parrish says the lots will be smaller, about 1,500 square feet, filling a gap for home buyers who don't need such a big house. This brings Parkview's total footprint to 49 lots, with 12 already sold and 6 more very close behind. Great news, Eupora. Toby Brantley Park is moving closer and closer to finally being fully open. 4M Contracting is wrapping up some key improvements. New benches are going in, new toilets are now set up in the restrooms, lights are on the way too. Just one step closer to a park ready for community events and gatherings. City officials say there's still some work to be done, but every improvement gets them closer and closer to the park's full potential. A former Columbus councilman has been indicted on felony charges, accused of taking your tax dollars and putting them in his own pocket. A Lowndes County grand jury indicted former Ward 2 Councilman Joseph Mickens for rigging bids while he was in office. Prosecutors say Mickens rigged city contracts with this business owner, Marcus Dawson Sr., who has also been arrested and indicted. Dawson allegedly submitted the rigged bids on behalf of his business, HVAC and Mechanical LLC. According to the indictment, Mickens took more than $11,000 for flooring work at Townsend Community Center and the city garage while he was still a sitting councilman voting on the very budget that paid for it. He served 4 terms on the city council, losing his seat in the 2025 Democratic primary. The Dispatch gives a really great breakdown of what happened, what's in that indictment, and where all that money went. You can scan the QR code there on the corner of your screen to check it out. Thank you, everyone, so much for joining us. For Mississippi Live, I'm Emily Leonard.
Reserve your St. Jude Dream Home giveaway ticket by August 28th, and you'll be eligible to win the house and the bonus prize, a 2026 Polar Ranger, courtesy of Dream Day Foundation. Visit dreamhome.org or call 1-800-456-8351 to reserve your ticket today.
Right now, from the Mississippi Live Weather Center, here's meteorologist Gabe Maynor.
So heat continues to be our story. Upper 90s on Friday, triple digits through the weekend and even into the start of the work week. But our saving grace actually comes with some pop-up showers. As that moisture does return, that's going to drop those temperatures. And yes, we're calling 97 a drop in temperatures, and that'll carry over through the week as well. But the weekend trending drier, and that dry air really allowing those temperatures to climb near record values. I don't believe we set any records, at least not here in Tupelo, but we're close enough to where we can say near record temps, and the fact we're saying that in midsummer tells you how toasty of a pattern that we are in. But while heat is the story here, elsewhere, well, it's been a pretty active pattern. And we do have viewer submitted video from up in Maine. That's right, yes, all the way up there in the far northeast corner of the United States. Let's take a listen at what they experienced this afternoon. So that right there is in Portland, Maine, video submitted by Kevin Brown, and what you're hearing is the heavy downpour happening, but that's also some small hail mixing in. And there was a good bit of hail coming out of this. You see the video there of the hail lining the streets. Again, this is Kevin traveling along, I'll be honest, I don't know the exact roads up there in Maine, but I mean, hail lining the sides of the roads at least tells you that this was a pretty impactful storm. Now, a little bit earlier on this week, you can see this is over in Georgia, Warm Springs, Georgia. Chip Griffin sending in this video. The trees down along the roadways, the heavy downpour still ongoing. You know, this was part of a line of storms that really had some gusty winds. Not necessarily tornadic, but I mean, straight line or twisting really doesn't matter whenever you talk about damage, and damage did occur over there in Georgia, as it did across Indiana, Illinois, and all through the Ohio Valley down here towards the southeast. So, of course, we're saying our prayers for everyone that have been affected, and we are going to continue to watch those conditions elsewhere, because here our story is not the storms at all. I mean, it's shocking. It tells you the change in the weather pattern, the fact that up in Maine, they're getting hail, whereas here we're getting sunshine and heat. So definitely going to be dealing with that part of the forecast and even into the night. Well off there towards Ohio, Indiana, Illinois, still seeing those severe thunderstorm watches overhead. Not even close to us here in North Mississippi. And those rainfall totals, that's really what we need out of this. But as you can see, it comes with severe weather. So I guess we will take our clear skies and sunshine as long as they keep the calm conditions around as well. Rainfall totals over the past 12 hours out there towards Warrior and Gardendale. I mean, that's where I grew up, but that's far away from here in Tupelo and here in North Mississippi. Our Mama Justice Doppler radar staying dry through the night. Let me take down that lower third here real quick because We definitely don't want to be in Warm Springs, Georgia with how active of a pattern they have had. We, again, will take our clear skies and sunshine, and that clear sky forecast will remain our forecast overnight and into the start of our Friday. Taking a look outside, Caledonia. In fact, as we pull back up Mama Justice Doppler radar, I don't want to overlook this. It is just such a small shower that was developing out there in Lamar County, just outside of Caledonia. Let's put this on a loop here real quick, and I'm only going to go 30 minutes or so. Yeah, right there towards High Togi, you can see how that just bubbles up and then dissipates out. Honestly, you could fool me that that might be a smoke plume. Could be. That might very well be a pop-up shower over there just south of Vernon in Lamar County. So that's what I was trying to capture here with our view out of our Caledonia camera with the North Mississippi Storm Chasers, but I mean, not much to it now as that has dissipated out. We're still getting those clear skies. Maybe able to see a meteor? We're still in the Perseid meteor shower, so the potential's still there. It's just not as high as it was last night. 85 degrees, so even if you're viewing overnight, you still might break a sweat despite it being nighttime. Tells you how warm our pattern is. New Albany, a clear sky as well up there in Union County. Always a great view across 22 there in central part of Union County, and love those starry nights up there as well. Batesville, we're 88 degrees, feels like 95 at 9 o'clock at night. I cannot wait for this heat wave to be over. That is for sure, and I think a lot of you would agree with me on that. 81 by 11, 78 though for that morning commute. So Friday, the push said it, starting on a high note. High note being the warm temperatures, and we are going to continue to see those high notes stick around all through the afternoon as well. 10 p.m. we're staying dry for our Thursday night. We'll stay dry into those overnight hours and even dry into our Friday morning commute. So no need to grab the rain gear. We are far away from any of those chances as we get into our Friday. And that drier air continues to move in there out of the west, and that's going to keep rain chances pretty minimal. While it does try and pop up a few showers, Lamar, Monroe, and Lowndes County, we're really not expecting any rain chances, and I do expect a large part of that moisture to remain more elevated, never reaching the surface and never giving us that rain-cooled air, unfortunately. 77 Houston, Eupora, Starkville, even up around Tupelo and New Albany. We're 79 Clarksdale, Southaven, and Greenville, 78 Belzona and Cleveland. So we're well above normal once again for the start of our Friday, but the final day of the school week, final day of the work week, we're still going to be beautiful from start to finish with that sunshine sticking around. In fact, I want you to get outside and enjoy this. There's just precautions that we need to take in order to do so safely, because while it's 78 at pickup, and that's a great time, coaches, to go work out, maybe do a morning workout instead of an afternoon workout, because by drop-off, we're at 98 degrees, and those wet bulb globe temperatures are increasing as well, meaning practice is a little bit hazardous. So rather the students wake up a little bit early and groan and complain at having to wake up early, rather than groan and complain about maybe a heat-related illness later on in the day. We'll definitely take that, the first over the second for sure. So as we get into our Friday mid-morning, I told you it's going to be beautiful with plenty of sunshine. Any cloud cover that we do get, more the thin and wispy variety, so no chance of any rainfall for our Friday. That carries over into the afternoon as well, and you continue to see those winds coming out a little bit more of the south out there in the Delta. That's going to maybe allow those heat indices to climb. That's why a few more of those warnings are out there, because heat indices could get a little bit higher. But for northeast Mississippi, really forecasting higher temperatures, but those feels like values not going to follow suit. They're not going to trend higher as well. They remain pretty consistent, whether the temperatures are hot or whether the temperatures are hotter. I guess there's not really a cooler in this situation. So we're seeing 100 there in Tupelo, even down towards Houston, 99 Eupora, Starkville, 98 Louisville and Macon. We jump out west, 101 Clarksdale, 101 Belzona, but 103 in Greenville. But look at the feels like values. While, yes, temperatures are going to be 100 degrees in Tupelo potentially on our Friday, feeling like 109. Well, out towards Clarksdale, where there might be a little bit more moisture, feeling like 108. So if it drops those temperatures because of the moisture, it's still going to feel around that same margin, because, I mean, that's just the type of pattern that we're in. So 105 to 110 degrees, that's the expectation for our Friday. So drink plenty of water. Yes, get those fluids ready, and also keep those electrolytes around in case you do sweat a little bit extra for any of those outdoor activities. And also wear light colored clothing, wear an athletic t-shirt tomorrow, just anything you can do to stay cool, because like I said, this is uncharacteristic heat that we're dealing with here in North Mississippi. Oh, I almost lost my breath there. So as we continue Friday night, we are staying dry once again. And yes, dry conditions are great for outdoor plans. They're just not great to keep the cooler air around. So we are going to continue to trend on the higher side of things when we're talking temperatures. And that starts with our Saturday morning, as we will begin the day in the upper 70s with a few low 80s possible. Now, right here, temperatures are starting to trend a little bit back. So what that does tell me is that some drier conditions are going to settle in, dropping those low temperatures, because the dew point is basically our floor for those overnight temperatures. So that's a welcome sight, because it does mean dry conditions are starting to try to move in. And we'll see that more towards the afternoon, with those high temperatures actually getting a little bit higher than where we typically be at with the moisture in the air. I know it's confusing. Basically, moisture keeps temperatures down, at least high temperatures down, but feels like values up. Drier air keeps temperatures up, but those dew points down, meaning that it's not as much moisture in the air. That's really the trade-off that you're getting here. Either way, it's going to feel around the same value. So Saturday morning, we're still dry, we're still clear, beautiful sunshine. Get out early, maybe play some pickleball during the morning, and get some indoor plans during the afternoon. I know football has kicked off the preseason, so maybe make some afternoon plans to go view some of those games, but definitely don't want to be outside by 3 p.m. because while it is going to be beautiful, it is unfortunately going to be very toasty. I do see that there's a chance of rainfall popping up. Not necessarily sold on that, especially with a direct westerly flow. That's going to be that drier air settling in. I'm hopeful that this will verify. We'll see with more model runs how that does, but I'm not necessarily sold on those rain chances just yet for our Saturday. But look at these high temperatures. I'm going to say a sentence that I have not said since I've started working at Mississippi. You are more likely to be in the triple digits than double digits for your Saturday. Wrap your mind around that. 100 degrees in Amory, Starkville, Macon, and Eupora. 101 Houston and Tupelo. 100 Bruce. 101 Grenada, Greenwood. 102 Belzona and Clarksdale. 100 even in the far northwest portion of Mississippi. And then 103 in Greenville. Now look at the feels like values. You notice that they're very similar to Friday and very similar to what we had today. That's telling you that that drier air is prevailing. So yes, it is going to be hot in the temperature department, but those heat indices not climbing much more from what those actual values are now. It is still going to be 105 to 110 degrees, so we want to prepare for that. But as we go through the weekend, the dry conditions remain the story, keeping the temperatures in the triple digits. Towards the start of the week, that's when the temperatures will start to get some relief, dropping into the upper 90s. We're taking moral victories here, folks. And it is going to bring some of that rain-cooled air for 20% of us. Now, I do hope those do start to come up by the start of the week, but that's our saving grace in this situation. So we're rooting for the rainfall. Bring it on. It's just not going to be here anytime soon. The weekend needs to be a time where we are having a water bottle on standby. We are having the air conditioner running 24/7. Even when I was talking to my wife at home about the air conditioner, and we looked at the thermostat and it was at 76 degrees. Well, we have our house set at 72. So that means it has not stopped from start to finish. So unfortunately, there might be some power outages with temperatures this high and a lot of folks using that air conditioner. So if you can bump it up a degree or two, might be worth your while and definitely help out your power bill, help out those power crews from having to fix some potential outages through the weekend. So that's something that we can do. I think we all can handle a degree or two compared to not having air at all, right? So let's do what we can to make sure everyone's taken care of. Check on the elderly, check on your children, check on your babies, especially. I'm speaking to myself here because you don't want them to get overheated, not exposing them too much to the heat, and definitely checking the back seat every time you're in the vehicle. Make it a habit, make it just part of your routine, and it'll be worth your while because you'll know that your little ones are safe. So as we wrap up the broadcast, I know we usually say, hey, download that app for storm coverage. Well, in this situation, we're talking heat alerts. Make sure to download that app today to get the latest on those alerts for your location and really know what to expect as we go through the weekend. And honestly, what I'm looking forward to is whenever the app is not telling me there's a heat-related alert. Getting into parts of next week, I think that will definitely be a possibility, but not anytime soon. But I'm rooting for some better conditions, that's for sure. As we head into the rest of our night, our next live broadcast at 10 o'clock, we're going to be looking at the latest with the tropics and really looking at that heat index forecast all throughout next week. That coming up at 10 o'clock right here from the Mississippi Live Weather Center. So keep it here for the very latest.
Growing up, Gabe was naturally curious. When he began to discover weather, Gabe just didn't want to know what was happening, but he wanted to know why it was happening. Gabe became fascinated with tornadoes and it impacted his life. He wanted to pursue a career in meteorology. Even though Gabe grew up in Alabama, Mississippi has now become his home and his family. And one thing about Gabe is he keeps his family safe.